Hello everyone, and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew, with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Hey Fab folks, Andrew here today, doing something I don't normally do. I generally avoid finance related and supply chain related topics. And the reason for that is twofold. The first being that, I'm very much more just interested in really playing the game and how the game plays than, all the finance side stuff of it. But of course, being a collector, you still have to get the cards, which has become an issue lately. But the second and actually the primary reason is that the level of bias is very high when it comes to these type of conversations, right? The people who are trying to just make a buck obviously are very, very vested in doing so, and the people that are against that are obviously very, very vested or anti that in the other way. And it's one of these topics where emotion reigns more so than level-headedness. And, because I want something, makes it true, right? So specifically what I'm talking about today are the issues that are going on right now in terms of reallocation, right? And there's a lot of anger. And I do want to preface this with, right, the internet is absolute, especially in the gaming world, right? The internet, social media, I should say, is very much an echo chamber, right? It gives a small number of people who are very pissed off a very loud voice. And then it allows others to pile on, and people who come to their defense generally get choked out and bullied out. It's just the way the conversations evolve. It's just social media, right? So specifically what I'm talking about is the reallocation that occurred to the U.S. Or the U.K., about a week ago, and then earlier this week in the U.S. it started happening, and I'm sure it's happening to other countries, right? But the reallocation of Monarch First Edition, and the fact that the end user, the gamers, are now not everybody's getting what they ordered. And if you're the crazy idiot who gave somebody a whole bunch of money in January before that store even knew what they were going to get, quite frankly, that's on you, bro, right? But what I'm specifically talking about are people who went to LGSs who did it the legitimate way. They waited until they got their allocation from the distributor, which was certainly lower than what they actually wanted. They got that and said, okay, I'm getting 80 boxes. I'll do pre-orders now based on that 80 boxes. And then the distributor came back earlier this week, right before release, and said, no, now you're getting less. And that has happened across the board to LGSs, not your fireballs and your covenants and stuff like that, to my knowledge, by the way, which is interesting in a game that supposedly supports the LGS, but that's a different topic. Anyway, so there are a lot of people being like, oh my goodness, my LGS is unscrupulous business practice. And while it's certainly true, it's unarguably true that there are probably a very small number of stores out there doing it. The majority of your LGSs are doing the right thing, have been doing the right thing, and are probably more screwed than you are in this situation, because now they've got they're losing out on just as much as you are, but now they got everybody pissed at them. Right? So what I want to talk about today is basically what's happening, why what's happening does not make your LGS necessarily evil, and how we can, as players, try to maintain a better business practice going forward by voting with our dollars. All right, folks, so before we get into this, I just want to kind of head off one of the things, right? So it is highly likely that the vast majority of us who are actually ordering from our LGS, our local game store, are going to have the number that we thought we were going to get. 10 days ago, we thought we were going to get some number, and it's highly likely that we are going to get less than that. Furthermore, it may not be done equitably, right? Because your LGS is going to be getting less than they thought they were in terms of the pre-orders. Like, let's say you're the person that ordered 10 cases and somebody else ordered a box. Well, let's say 3 boxes, just for the sake of making my math easy, right? You ordered 3 cases and they ordered 3 boxes. It's highly likely, or it's potential, that they will get 100% of their order and you will have your order cut by some percentage, right? Because your LGS is going to make sure that everybody can get something. They're not necessarily necessary, right? I'm just saying they're not necessarily going to go in, first out. They're probably going to distribute it around so that their in-store players can get product, right? That's a completely reasonable thing of it. So that may or may not happen. I don't know. But just be clear. Not everyone's going to be affected the same way, even at the same store. And most of us are being affected in some way, right? So I realize that what happened to you by somebody dropping your box order is just the worst thing that's ever happened to you entire life, which A, it's not, get over it. 2, it doesn't mean your LGS is evil, right? So let's start this by reviewing how the product order for at a very grand scheme of things, how it works for an LGS, right? And again, I'm not talking about a fireball or something that makes a deal offline with LSS that they're going to get 40 bajillion boxes, right? I'm talking about how a normal game store actually does an order. So they decide, okay, this new product is coming out, Monarch's coming out. I want to pre-order 1,000 boxes. So they submit that pre-order to their distributor. Their distributor then comes back, generally, like in this case, it was like 6-8 weeks ago. I mean, again, I don't work for game stores, so I don't know the exact timeline, right? But 2 months ago, let's say, the distributor came back and was like, all right, you pre-ordered 1,000 boxes. That's cute. What you're actually going to get is 100 boxes. And then your game store says, okay, well, that sucks, but now I know my numbers, so now I can take pre-orders. So they'll, email out to their community or whatever. Maybe they just have a sign that goes up, or they take calls, whatever it may be. They're going to put that into their order system. They're going to allow people to pre-order those 100 boxes because they were told that they were going to get those 100 boxes. Well, what happened because of supply chain issues or whatever, right? Not saying anybody's failed or anybody's at fault, but what happened this week, or in the US or at least, right? And I know it's happened in other places in the globe. What happened this week was distributors then came back and said, hey, LGS, I know we told you were going to get 100, but you're actually only going to get 80 or something to that effect, right? So now the LGS has to reconcile that, right? Especially in a high demand product, which basically everything is right now. But in a high demand product like Monarch, a good smart LGS was probably holding back like maybe a case, right? For either stuff that gets damaged and then they have to give out, or maybe order mix-ups, or maybe they just want to have packs available for people that walk in, whatever, right? A smart LGS will have held some of that back. And now they have to reconcile that. So they have to reconcile that somehow by either canceling orders or decreasing orders, right? And what's happening now is there are a very select, and again, this is one of the problems of the internet being an echo chamber, giving a very select number of people a big voice that then they can pile on with, right? Is now people are taking to the internet and basically saying, my store now, my store decreased it's like I gave my store money and I pre-ordered, and my store is now canceling my order because they want to take that box and sell it. And again, maybe there are almost certainly some LGSs out there doing it. But my argument is that, the stores that took your money back in January before they even knew how much they were going to get to begin with, those are likely the same people that are probably doing that proposed activity, right? Your LGS, if they waited until they actually knew their distributor numbers, are probably not doing that, right? And let's actually think about this and put it in perspective, right? I'm going to go on Friday and get how many ever, right? I ordered a case, right? And how many ever boxes my LGS gives me, they're still selling me at MSRP, right? When that box they know that box is worth conservatively 3 to 4 times more than that, if not 5 to 6 times more than that, right? So my store could just say, you know what, screw it and sell it. And they're not, they're still selling it at MSRP. I mean, I don't know how people, and again, I want to be very clear. I know that this is a very small portion of the community that's making this argument. But I don't see how people can go and attack these small businesses who literally could turn around and make a ton of money off of this and are choosing not to support. And because they got screwed, are now attacking their LGS. It is blowing my mind. And everybody knows I support Gongai. Gongai got reallocated earlier this week, as did everybody else, right? I mean, this is not a unique issue to one store. It's not one store that's making this happen. I mean, it's a very, very unfortunate situation, but it doesn't necessarily mean that your LGS is evil. So let's move on to the next step here and talk about how we prevent stuff like this. Now, can we prevent there being shipping issues in the Suez Canal thing? No, I'm not a crazy person, right? But the idiots, because if you did this, you were an idiot, right? If you gave somebody in January or early February, or whatever the time frame is, if you gave somebody your money to set on your Monarch pre-order, you are an idiot, because that store does not know how much they're going to get. Like any store who is taking your money before they actually know what their allocation is just wrong. Like it's just wrong, because the way that this business practice works, because I mean, think about it, right? Everything is in such high demand that everybody puts in numbers that are so absurdly high because they know that they're going to get allocated, right? And if you come and say, hey, I legitimately think as a store I need 80 boxes, and you pre-order 80 boxes, you're going to get 20. And everybody's known that at this point. It's the way it works for Magic. It's the way it works for Pokemon. It's the way it works for this, right? So you have to say, I need 1,000 boxes so that you might actually have a chance at getting what you want, right? That's the system we have. The system sucks, but it's the system we have, right? So if you as a person are giving a store in January your money, you're an idiot, because that store has no idea how much they're going to get. And best case scenario for you is that they do go first in, first out, right? But again, that store has already demonstrated they're doing unscrupulous things as a business practice. So by taking your money and sitting on it, they've already demonstrated that they're doing unscrupulous business practices. So they very well may just say, you know what, we were going to give it to you for 80 or for 100, but now it's worth 500 and your order got lost. I mean, what do you, that's why I'm saying you're an idiot, because what do you expect, right? And then you get angry at that. That's just insane. And like, I am so sorry that happened to you. I really am. But like, that's dumb. It's dumb. You're not working, like you have to know who you're buying from, right? So now I want to move into the other side of this, and Channel Fireball is not being impacted. I mean, and maybe they did see some decrease, but like we haven't seen yet anybody complaining about not getting their Channel Fireball order. We haven't seen any impact to covenants and stuff, right? So who's being impacted by these shortages is your LGS. And right now, what's happening is because the LGSs are getting shorted and not the major retailers, people are now going to be more motivated to go to the larger retailers, because, you know, if in Monarch, I got everybody who ordered from Fireball did, but not everybody who ordered from Gongai did, you're going to go to Fireball next time, right? Or the non-loyal person is going to go to Fireball is what I'm saying. So LSS needs to step up here, and I don't know what they're gonna like. I don't know what they're gonna do. Like, I'm not a supply chain guy, but like there needs to be a shift here. Like, if you are legitimately going to support your LSS or your LGS, you have to do something, right? Yeah, I don't know. And you know, the other part of this is I know there's some product delays and stuff. So like maybe Monarch's, you know, first edition's coming in 2 waves based on shipping, and that's fine. But you've still got people who are trashing LGSs on the internet. And I mean, go look at these Facebook pages. Like, it's nothing. Like, the last 3 days have been nothing except for, I'm not getting my order, how unscrupulous, blah, blah, blah. And like, again, it's an echo chamber. I grant you that. These people have no idea what they're talking about. Like, your LGS, 95% of your LGSs are not ripping you off here, right? Your LGSs are like, you're legitimately pissed off that your LGS has less to sell you at MSRP. I mean, that's crazy town. Like, I get it. Your stuff got cut off and that sucks. And like, it's like, I'm going to get less than I wanted and it sucks. But like, your store could give you none and just sell it. And that's, again, and that's what you're like, that's what you're blaming them about, is that you're like, oh, they're canceling my order or they're decreasing my order because they want to make more money. It's like, if they've canceled your order, maybe you can make that argument. But probably, like, if they're decreasing your order, you certainly can't make that argument, because why would they choose to sell some of your product at MSRP and not the rest? I mean, that would be a way a smart store would do it, actually, to be fair. But they're a smart, unscrupulous store. But anyway, I'm just ranting at this point because I'm really bothered by what I'm seeing. And again, I grant you that, especially if you're watching this and you're still watching this video at this point, you probably understand. But these people going after LGSs, the only impact of going after LGSs for being unscrupulous is that it pushes more and more people to the major retailers, which is only going to make it worse for LGSs in the future, right? And right, let's really put this in perspective, right? So many people, I've seen so many people over the last 6 months or so of Fab be like, man, I've tried to pick this up at my store and my store was resistant. My store's finally picking it up. How exciting. It's like, if you've been fighting to get your store, like if your store's been resistant to pick it up, and then as soon as they pick it up, this happens, like do you really think they're going to be that much more motivated to pick it up in the future? The argument on your side is that as long as the dollar's there, sure, they will, because they're running a business. But like, eventually things are going to slow down for Fab. And like, think about it the other way, right? If these guys are getting into, right, like we talked about, is like you pre-order 1,000 for the hope of getting 100. What happens 3 years down the line when like they pre-order 1,000, they actually get 1,000, right? Of course, I guess they don't pay for it until they get their allocation. They can decrease maybe, so maybe that's not the impact. But still, right, at some point in the future, it's conceivable that these stores are going to end up having stuff sitting on the shelves, and then do they continue? I mean, whatever. We're trailing off and ranting at this point, but I don't see how you go after the majority of your, because let's summarize it this way, and then we'll get out of here, right? Because that's what I was talking about, is what we as players can do, right? As players, we should only be doing business with people that we should only be doing business with LGSs that we know and trust, right? If you get on the phone and you order from people across the country and stuff like this who don't even know you, like, you're probably like, they're going to in a reallocation situation, they're going to cut you before they cut their local player 9 times out of 10, right? I mean, that's the reality of the situation. So deal with your LGS, deal with people you can trust, make sure you know who they are, and don't give people your money well before, right? Don't give people your money well before they actually know what they're going to get. I mean, sure, they shouldn't be taking it. They absolutely shouldn't. But like, it's one of those things where like, you need to be a responsible purchaser too, because if you hold these people accountable, and by the way, yelling at them on Facebook is not holding them accountable. I'm just saying, or yelling at them on Discord is not holding them accountable. Like, let's change our purchasing. Like, if you want, like, you can literally vote with your dollars. We can literally vote with our dollars. If there's some store out there who does something legitimately bad, let us know. But you having your order allocated just like everybody else did doesn't mean a store is doing bad. So, whatever. Passion out. I'm sure there's going to be a ton of love on this video just because, again, nobody wants to hear facts. They just want to hear emotion, right? And that's clearly what's happening right now. But I think I would like to see us, when all the dust settles on this and everybody cools down, I would really like to have the discussion out there of, why are for a game that, touts the flesh and blood aspect of this and playing it at your LGS, and, they do a great job supporting that, an amazing job supporting the LGS with their kits and stuff like that. Amazing job. But if they can't get the product to the stores, but yet they support the online retailers, but not the LGS. I don't know. There's an interesting discussion to be there, because I get the other side of it, right? The Fireballs and the Covenants and so on, the Rudies, whatever. They helped grow the game. They helped basically pay. I mean, I'm sure that they made pre-orders and put money on the line to help the stuff get printed and give them capital, right? So I get that there's arguments in both directions. But if we're getting this in, if we have a situation like happening right now, like, what do we honestly think the chances are that some people will now go order for Fireball instead of LGS? I mean, I would say it's high. So, I mean, I think that there's a very realized impact there that we need to consider. But again, don't pre-order, don't give somebody your money months ahead of time, because again, that's just the way that this works. Like, don't give somebody your money, and if they're going to take that money, why should you trust them? But anyway, rant over. So I'm sorry to everybody, including myself, who's been reallocated, but who I'm really sorry to are all the stores that were told not that long ago how much product they were going to get, responded accordingly, and then got reallocated, right? And let's put in perspective, what's happening to these stores is no different than what's happening to us. I was told I was going to get a case, now I'm going to get less. They were told they were going to get 100 cases, and now they're going to get less, right? What's happening to them is the same thing that's happening to us, but they're in a worse situation because now everybody's mad at them. So go give your LGS owner a social distance fist bump. Anyway, thanks guys for watching, and go Commando.